Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Saturday, April the 16th, 2022. And believe it or not, the real NBA playoffs are here.
Yeah.
A phenomenal four-game NBA slate today, playing from 1 p.m. Eastern all the way through until late evening. So this is our time to shine here at Coach Talk. We're extremely excited. And I get to start off the very first NBA playoffs podcast, the one and only Josh Crash Davis. How are you this morning, Josh?
Doing well, Coach. Enjoyed the games yesterday, like we were just talking about, and there's nothing like the NBA playoffs, so I'm so ready for them to start today.
Yep. And I have to check for my box of Kleenex here to wipe Dirk's tears over there because no Luka today. Can you believe that? Baloney?
That's tough, and at least it's not like the Clippers with Paul George, because that was a one and done. At least the Mavericks will actually have a chance to, if they fall in this first game, get back in the series when Luka comes back. So
I hope it's sooner than later. Although, Dawson sent me a picture and it was Luka in a boot.
Oh, wow.
So that's not a good thing.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, we thought, as Bucks fans, we thought Giannis was done after game 4, whatever it was in the finals last year, and then he came back and just tore it up. So
we'll see. Gotta win and survive and move on. That's the theme. But we're gonna bring you every single NBA playoff game. And again, the last 2 years here at Coach Talk, for those of you that are members or have been part of it, this has been our hottest 6-week stretch of the entire season. Or year, I should say, of getting hot and, cracking that 70% winning percentage. So we expect, not just hope, we expect to do that again this year. If you want to join us, by the way, dfscoachtalk.com is where you want to go. Also want to thank our presenting sponsor for this podcast. It is Prizepicks. Go to prizepicks.com, sign up with the promo code CoachTalk, and you get dollar for dollar match on your first $100 deposit. All right, we're not going to play around. We're giving you everything today. We're going to do it fast so everybody can listen before the 1 o'clock lock time for the 4-game slate. We're going to go over the games briefly, talk about who's in, who's out, all of that information. Then we're going to give you each our top prize pick play of the day for the NBA, and we're going to quickly build a 2 brains are better than 1 Fanduel lineup for you to have on this first day of the playoffs. All right, here we go, my friend. We're diving in head first, no messing around. Utah Jazz at the aforementioned Dallas Mavericks. It's Utah -5 on the road because no Luka. Only 209.5, which let's mention this right now because this is where we have to really weigh how much exposure we want to these games.
Yeah.
The first game, Utah-Dallas, is 209.5. The second game, Minnesota-Memphis, is 236. Now, that's substantial. Toronto-Philly, 216, and Denver-Golden State, 222.5. So keep that in mind as we're buzzing through these 4 games. So again, Utah by 5, 107.25 implied for Utah, 102.25 for the Dallas Mavericks. The only person out for Utah is Trent Forrest. 3 guys out for Dallas: Ntilikina, Hardaway, and some dude by the name of Luka is also out. So the big question here is, do you not focus much on this game because of the low total? Do you expect somebody to pick up the slack from Luka? What's your initial look here?
Yeah, that's the direction that I'm leaning right now. I think that this game, I don't know if it's going to completely blow out, but I think it could get away, from us a little bit if we went too heavy in this game. And I'm a little concerned about that. And it's just kind of hard to know how these teams are going to stack up without Luka playing. With it being the playoffs now, it's going to be played differently. The matchups are going to be played differently. So
yeah,
I do want to play light in this game. I guess my top play from Dallas would be Jalen Brunson. That would probably be the key guy. It seems like he's been the most successful against Utah without Luka in the lineup. And really, I don't really see a lot on Utah as far as them with their prices, the hitting the value that meets their price.
Right.
I mean, Mitchell averaged about 38 fantasy points. That's not enough at 8'3" or whatever he is.
Right.
Gobert, he's had 35, 36 fantasy points. So these guys, they're in the 8K price range and they're not hitting value at that price. So I guess the one play that I do like a little bit would be Bojan Bogdanovic. He had about 30 DraftKings points a game against Dallas this year, and he's 5,700 on FanDuel, 5,400 on DK. And there's not a ton of mid-range and value plays in this slate. So those are the kind of plays that I would look to in this matchup.
Yeah, no, good take. I mean, for me, I have a little more interest in this game. I know it's contrarian. People are going to say, oh, it's because you're a Mavs fan. No, absolutely not. As you know, and our listeners, or maybe if you're tuning in for the first time, I put all that aside. I don't care who my favorite team is, my favorite players, the time of the games. It's a late game. So who cares? You just you build the best lineups. And looking at this game completely, focused on what it is. I understand the possessions will be down, the total's down, and I think Vegas is right to set that lower. But I don't think this is a throwaway game. I think that amount of usage that Luka has, which is absolutely enormous, it is up there at the top of the heap here. We're talking, more than Harden, Embiid type of range, Joker kind of range, etc. So this is no joke. That has to go somewhere. And I think it directly goes to Dinwiddie and Brunson. Dinwiddie will step into that starting lineup. He's done well for them when he's done it. I think you could play either one. I don't recommend playing both because it's just a lot of eggs in one basket, if you will. The other guy that really seems to do well is Dwight Powell. When Luka's out, I know he's great hooking up with Luka on the lobs, but when Powell's out, they play faster. And we've talked about that before. It's all Luka ball, which it should be when he's in, but when he's out, they push the ball. And Dwight Powell is a transition scorer. He's not a half-court scorer. Just, other than the high pick and roll for lobs, he's going to get a lot on transition, putbacks, that kind of thing.
Sure.
So I'm not adverse to having, a Brunson Powell lineup or something of that nature and getting after it a bit in this first game. On the other side of the ball, I don't think it blows out. It's at Dallas. I do think Utah's probably going to come out with a win here against the Luka-less Dallas team. But I don't think it's a crazy shot to go with either Mitchell or Gobert. Not both again. You can't put all your salary into this game. But, if they do win and they win, even if it's by 10 or whatever, they're going to stick with their main guys. They're going to go the big minutes. Mitchell is by far the highest usage, shots, etc., assist ratio. Even with Conley and Mitchell still controls most of that usage. And then we know Dallas struggles against bigs. And Gobert, should have 15 rebounds today without much of an issue. So, yeah, I know it sounds contrarian. And again, it has nothing to do with my Mavs fan for life card that I carry. Yeah. But I do think that a Mitchell Gobert, or maybe, both, doubtful both, and then, a combination of two of the Dinwiddie, Brunson, and Powell, just because their usage and numbers are going to, triple with Luka out. So I like this first game, Crash, as much as it sounds a little odd.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like Brunson. I don't want you to think I don't want to have any Dallas Mavericks in this game. He had 43 DraftKings points against the Jazz earlier this year without Luka, and he had 44 with them. So it really didn't seem to matter whether he was in the lineup or not. Brunson had 3 good games against Utah. So I definitely like Jalen Brunson. And, I can see the Dwight Powell play too, because like you said, when Luka's in there, they play a slower pace. And when he's not, they speed it up, which favors his game. So I can definitely.
And the sweet part about it is,
3-something. How much is he?
Dinwiddie's 6'3", Brunson 7'2", which are
reasonable. About Powell.
And Powell's 5'2".
Oh, 5-2. Okay.
So it's not a giveaway.
Okay. Yeah.
So you got to think about it. And then Gobert at 8 and Donovan Mitchell 8-1. So it's not like you're paying $10K for those guys either.
Right.
So yeah, it's worth a definite consideration, no question about it.
Yeah.
All right, we go right from this game to the highest scoring game on the card here. It's Minnesota Timberwolves at the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis is -6.5. It's a 236 total, 114.75 implied for Minnesota, 121.25 implied for Memphis. As far as people questionable here, it's Taurean Prince for Minnesota. If he plays, he will steal a few minutes from some of those guys in the rotation. Not a ton, but I expect him to play. And then Killian Tilly's the only guy out for Memphis. So both teams at full tilt. And if you notice, too, Crash, before I throw this over to you, I'm not going over my normal stats of pace and defense because everything's different. Right.
Yeah,
throw
matter.
Those in the garbage. You got full teams in. Yeah. A lot of those stats got skewed by playing all these G League guys down the stretch.
Right.
This is like, here's what we got. This is what's rolling out. Now what can you do,
Yep, definitely.
So what's your take on T-Wolves Grizz?
This was pretty shocking to me, honestly. D'Angelo Russell, if you've seen the numbers he put up against Memphis, you think of Memphis as this great defensive team.
Right.
52, 41, 45, and 54 DraftKings points, averaging 31 real points per game, shooting 55% from the field and 46% from three.
Unreal. This is like BVP in baseball, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just absolutely lights out against Memphis for whatever reason. I mean, we didn't see those kind of numbers against other good defensive teams, obviously. So,
no,
for whatever reason, he really likes this matchup. So, I'm going to trust those numbers. We're not talking about one game, 4 really solid games from him. 7,700 on FanDuel, 7,200 on DK. So, I like Russell here. And Karl Anthony Towns has put up decent numbers, especially if you compare them to what Joel Embiid did against the Raptors. The numbers are similar. Embiid's quite a bit more. So I kind of like Karl Anthony Towns here. I think Jokic is obviously going to get a lot of ownership at center, rightfully so. But I also think Embiid will. And I really think Towns is a better option than Embiid against the matchup with the Raptors.
Wow.
Okay. He scored 45 plus DK points in 3 of his 4 games against Memphis. And Embiid had 3 games with 45 DK points or less against Toronto. So the pricing is right there for Towns, to put up similar numbers to Embiid. And it's crazy. I don't know if you saw this on FanDuel. Did you see what they did?
What's that?
You can play Jokic, Towns, and Embiid in the same lineup now. They put them at center, power forward. All 3.
I don't understand. That's ridiculous.
It's insane. So, we thought the scoring was high before on FanDuel. It's just going to be through the roof.
What's it going to take, 500 to win it?
Yeah, really. It's nuts. But anyway, I just thought that was crazy that they did that. So that's going to be something that we're going to have to see how people, use that utility like that. On Memphis, Minnesota did a really good job against Ja Morant. They held him to an average of 38 DraftKings points in 4 games. He went for 56 in his first game against them, but after that, he only had 19, 37, and 40. So they really held him down. And he's coming back from an injury, so I'm not sure I want to go to Ja Morant. Jaren Jackson was the second best player for Memphis against Minnesota. He had He's 6,100 on FanDuel, 6,800 on DK. He averaged about 35 DK points against them, scored 39 and 47 in the last 2 games against Minnesota. And I like his price here, and I think that he'll probably be my only play for Memphis.
Interesting. Yeah, this game is very intriguing because it's going to, they're going to score and it's going to be up and down. But there's a lot of contributors here. It's not like you can just zone in on a couple of guys. I mean, we've got that scenario with Russell Edwards and Towns that we always struggle with. And, Beverly shows up for the playoffs. And, so they got a lot of tools there. And then it's Ja's not, they didn't get to the second best record in the West just with one player. Ja missed like a third of the season at least.
Right.
And, Bane scores, Brooks can score, Jackson has some standout games, and Adams has smashed his number with rebounds and some points in games as well. So there's a lot of contributors here, but, I think a lot of people are going to have that same thought. I mean, you're going to get two schools of thought here on Ja Morant. One, he's not 100%. He's this, he's that. Is he going to be, able to make that number at 9-8? And then there's the other ones that, maybe just are just diving in hard on DFS for the NBA playoffs, and it's Ja, and they're going to jump on him. So you'll get a little residual of both of those. I have a feeling that two things. One, I think Ja's fine. I think he's 100%. I think he could have played more down the stretch, but they were like 18-3 or some insanity without him. And why, tire the guy when he plays so damn hard?
Right.
Let him be 100% for the playoffs. And I think he is. The other piece why I think he'll be lower owned than normal, obviously you've got all the Embiids and Jokers and everything to pay up for, but people are going to see Pat Bev and think, okay, he's going to, really be an irritant for Ja. But I'll tell you what, Ja is tough cover for Pat Bev. Pat Bev can harass a little bit better the Lukas and stuff because they're more stationary. When you're dribbling and backing people down, he's blowing in your ear and biting on you and pushing you and spitting on, Pat Bev. But when you're Ja, you can't do that when somebody's by you before you even saw them.
Right.
So, and I think what Pat Bev did to be more effective on Ja very early in his career was he just let him shoot the three because he couldn't shoot it. But now Ja can make that shot. And I think it's a tough cover for Pat Bev. So I think I'm going to get a super low owned Ja Morant compared to everything else. And I think he's the highest scoring player in this game, which is the highest projected total from Vegas. So I'm pushing my chips in on Ja today. I really like him. Other than that, you can get a secondary guy if you can afford him, but no giveaways for Memphis.
Right.
Bane, Brooks, Jackson, 6'2" to 7'1" in that range. I don't mind Steven Adams at 5'6". I think that, he can get to his number if you need to save money in that spot. I'm with you. But for me, the only Timberwolf I like is D'Angelo Russell. Recency, call it the BVP, like I said, of basketball. Some teams play better against certain other teams. And maybe, people are going to say, well, Dylan Brooks didn't play all the games when D'Angelo did all that well. I get that. But there's still a rotation there. Brooks probably is going to guard Edwards anyway. Bane is probably going to guard Russell. I would think that's going to be the combination. So I think D'Angelo Russell at 7.2 is too cheap for the way he's performed against the Grizz. And he's my favorite T-Wolf here.
Yeah. And even if he doesn't get 50, if he gets us 35 to 40, we're still going to be good with that at his price. So,
I'm with you, man. All right, let's hit game 3. It's a 6 p.m. Eastern game. Toronto Raptors, Philly 76ers. Philly favored by 4.5. It's a 216 total, 105.75 implied for Toronto, 110.25 for the Philadelphia 76ers. Designations here, 1. And I know this is going to affect your card tremendously. Charles Bassey is out.
I don't even know who that is. I don't even know who it is.
You don't know the great Charles Bassey, huh?
The great Charles Bassey, no.
And nobody is on the list for Toronto. So I'd say, it's surprising how you have 9 million guys on those lists with legit injuries and now nobody. What do you think about this one? I think this is going to be a fun series.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good series. For Toronto, it's interesting because you have Van Vliet at 7,800 on Fanduel, 7,900 on DK. He only played against the Sixers once this year. He had 54 DK points, so he had a huge game, 32 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. But Pascal Siakam didn't play in that game. And then on the flip side, you have Siakam, who averaged 57 DraftKings points in 3 games against the Sixers.
Right.
But Van Vliet didn't play in any of those games. So it's going to be interesting to see how those two play on the floor at the same time. I kind of want to avoid both of them until I find out, honestly. I don't know if I'm going to play either one of them. I think Siakam's probably going to get a lot of ownership because of how he did against them. And I think it could be a trap because when Van Vliet's in there, it's going to take away from his usage. So, especially at 9,800 on FanDuel, 8,900 on DK, I think Siakam's more of a play. And then for the Sixers, I like Tyrese Maxey's 5,900 on FanDuel, 6,400 on DK. He had 38 DraftKings points against Toronto on April 7th. And then, like I said earlier, they did a really good job against Joel Embiid. So I don't know if I'm going to go there. He only got to 60 once and 3 times against Toronto. And we're going to need at least 60 from him at his price. And James Harden, he kind of faded, off the stretch of the last end of the season. He had less than 50 in 4 of his last 6 games. So I think I might be fading both Embiid and Harden on this slate.
Wow. So this game's going to be one of your lesser owned of the.
Yeah. I think maybe Maxey and maybe Siakam on DraftKings. That's probably going to be it for me in this game.
Yeah. Well, the great debate on this card, probably for most people, I would assume is going to be, do you go with Embiid or do you go with the Joker?
Yeah.
On DraftKings, Embiid's 10-4, the Joker's 10-6. So that is the big decision maker here. There's a lot of scenarios as you look at the games that Toronto played Philly this year. And as you mentioned some, and I won't, I could spend 15 minutes breaking that all out. But the bottom line is neither one of these teams really was at 100% when they played each other. And some of it was prior trade. So it's so hard to really grab a true look at what it's going to, be on the floor.
Yeah.
It's sort of a new thing with all of these guys in there. And, after the trade with Philly, with getting Harden and everything. So I look at it this way. I think the pricing is pretty cheap on the Toronto guys. So you can make some of these guys work. I mean, the fact that Barnes is under 7K now is a nice deal. You've got Siakam under 9K. And for goodness sakes, Trent's under 6K. So, and Van Vliet under 8. So they dropped them all. So you can definitely play some of these Toronto guys and feel good, that you're not having to get their optimal performance, that they've done. So I see some potential there. I sort of think Trent at 5'9", because he's probably going to get Harden defense, might be the best value and the safest play as far as getting to his number. You know what, though? I made this decision, and again, it's going to be, you can call me CC today, contrarian coach, because I'm going to take Embiid over the Joker, and it's not going to be popular. And go ahead, send me the tweets that I'm crazy coach, triple C, crazy contrarian coach. I just think Embiid, he's had, to me, an MVP season. I think he's healthy. He's completely zoned in. It's in Philly. Harden has definitely taken a back seat. So you've seen it, more from day one. Harden is now, it's Embiid's team. Harden's going to contribute. He's going to be a big part of what they're doing, but it is Embiid's team. Plus, not as a knock on Harden, and if you're a Harden fan, it is what it is. He has not shown up for the playoffs very much in his career. You look back at games he's played when they needed him to step up. He's had some of those real, 3 for 20 kind of games at times as a Rocket and on back. So I just feel like it's an Embiid's show. It's Embiid's game, and I'm going after him. And the fact that I'm going to have Morant and Embiid in my lineup, and I think they're going to be both lower owned than they normally would be because of the other teams that are playing, I just feel like it gives me a strong edge, and I don't feel like I'm overpaying. I mean, Joel Embiid at 10-4 and the Joker at 10-6, to be honest, they both need to be north of 11K. They've been that dominant. So you're getting a decent price on those two guys. So Embiid's in there, maybe Trent on the other side, but I agree. I don't think this game is going to be super high scoring, and I don't want to have too much exposure, but if I can fit another value guy in, like a 6'4" Maxey or a 6'9" Barnes, I'll do it. But, it's going to take a little bit of juggling to make that happen.
Yeah. Did you see in the post game last night with Charles Barkley?
What regarding
He called
what?
James Harden out. Yeah, he called him out. He said, "Where's the camera?" And he looked directly at the camera and he said, "James Harden, da 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 da. You know, you haven't been showing up in the playoffs. You got to stop going to the strip clubs and da 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 da. And this is the playoffs and get ready." And yeah, he called him out. He really did.
Well, will that have an effect? We will see. I don't know if anybody takes anything Charles Barkley says as serious.
Yeah, I mean, he thinks so, obviously, but yeah, he did. He called him out.
I totally agree with Charles, 100%.
Yeah,
it's funny. Well, we'll see how it happens. There's no doubt. He'll probably get some Anunoby defense, and he can play. He's tough defensively. He'll get up on you. So that should be fun. All right, let's keep this cracking here. We have one game left. It's an 8:30 Eastern game. The Denver Nuggets, Golden State Warriors. Golden State by 6.5. It's a 222.5 total. 108 implied for Denver. 114.5 for the Golden State Warriors. Injury designations here. Probable tag for Curry. He's in. He's going to play. The three guys out we already know for Denver. No surprise. Campazzo, Murray, and Porter. So a shame they don't have Murray and Porter for their run, but they played without them all year, so they're pretty used to that whole scenario. So 222.5. I was surprised. Denver Golden State matchup would be the second highest total of the four. You don't usually see that in Golden State games, but I don't know if that means Golden State's defense is waning a bit, or if they're expecting both of these teams to hit some threes. What's your look?
I do prefer Jokic over Embiid. I know we have a difference of opinion here, but
most people will. I get it. Yeah.
12,000 on Fanduel, 10.6 on DK. So he's the most expensive player on both sites. Average 65 DraftKings points against Golden State in 4 games against them. Scored 70 and 75 in 2 of those.
Yeah.
He just seems to put up the bigger numbers than Embiid. But, I mean, you could absolutely be right. I mean, Embiid could go on a tear. Well,
I think I agree with you that Joker has a raw points edge here over Embiid. But my entire thing is ownership.
Yeah.
I think Joker's going to be at least twice his owned, probably almost 2.5 times more owned than Embiid. And that shift, if Embiid can just match him, you look like a champ in that scenario. But I get it, and I agree with you. And those numbers are overwhelming. There's no doubt.
And now you're going to have, for the first time this year, where you can have both, Jokic and Embiid on FanDuel. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
That is definitely an option. There's no doubt.
Yeah. Monty Morris is probably one of the only value plays I found on the whole slate. He's 4,600 on FanDuel, 4,900 on DK. He averaged just under 32 DraftKings points in 3 games against Golden State this year, so he should be a little bit of a value play for me. Steph Curry, of course, is coming back. He's listed as probable, but I'm 99% sure he's playing. He's 9,200 on FanDuel, 9,300 on DK. I think both he and Clay are going to step up. They haven't been in the playoffs since 2019 when they were in the Toronto and the NBA Finals.
Wow.
So they've been waiting a long time for this moment. I like both Steph and Clay, especially Clay at 6,800 on FanDuel. I think that's a little bit too cheap for him. And Draymond Green is the other play I like. He averaged 35 DraftKings points in 3 games against Denver, with 45 and 44 in the last 2. And Denver allowed the 4th most fantasy points to power forward. So it's a good matchup for Draymond. Again, he's kind of in that same boat with Steph and Clay being back in the playoffs, and I think he'll step up too. So I really like all 3 of those guys, but definitely Clay and Draymond for me.
Nice. Yeah, I think Draymond's a really good play at 6'1". He will show up and get the minutes, I would assume. I think he's very doable at that price at 6'1". I think it's very tough to try to roll out Steph Curry with, just coming back. I can't quite pull the trigger, but who knows? It's Steph Curry. I mean, he could make shots from anywhere blindfolded. So, the tough part is you can't really play Jordan Poole now. He's 8'3".
I know.
And yeah, it's like that price eliminates him, and it's a shame because he's played such great ball down the stretch. I mean, you could play him, but I just don't see how you get to that price tag.
Yeah.
Clay at 6'8", I like. At 7'8", that's a little bit too much for me. So that's going to be site dependent. And really, other than that, I'm with you. It's sort of a Clay and Green type thing that makes the most sense. I like your point on Monty Morris. I mean, Bones Highland started chopping into his minutes and playing well. And it's surprising how people react when that happens. It's like, okay, wait a minute, young fella. I still got some game. And at 4.9, I agree with you. And I think he's 4.6 on FanDuel. So, that's a great value. He still should get the majority of point guard minutes.
Right.
And I think, in a obviously a slate where there's no value like we're used to having on these crazy slates we had down the stretch, you've got to make some things work. And whether you have to roll out a 4.9 Morris or with 5.8 Will Barton, although he's struggled down the stretch, I mean, you can, in desperation, last man in if you're trying to, if you are building a lineup with Embiid and the Joker. I hate to say it, but guys like Jeff Green at 3.6 or Kevon Looney at 3.4, not that I love those guys, but if they're going to get 25, 28 minutes and you have to fit in the salary, you're going to have to make some not too comfortable choices to make your salary work. It's that simple.
Sure. Yeah.
And so, you can at least look at those guys. I don't think Bones is a bad play at 5.1. I think he'll get minutes. I wouldn't play Morris and Bones together because you're going to have to really be rooting for one side or the other there to get additional minutes.
Right.
But, this is actually my least favorite game of the 4 because you've got some experienced guys that have been there several times. I mean, Green and the Joker now, and obviously all of the Golden State guys, Curry, Thompson, Green, etc., Wiggins, they've all had runs in the playoffs. They're veterans. They're going to D it up. I think it's going to be more of an old-fashioned, playoff game than the others. So I think this could be, even though it's the third highest total, could struggle a little bit for, DFS points. And both of these coaches have been around too. So they're going to use their bench a little more. You're going to see Austin Rivers in there and Cousins, and then you'll see Poole and Porter and Iguodala and Payton in there. The other side. So I think there'll be more bench use from these two teams, and therefore I think taking a little bit away from the sting of how, being able to have those top guys in there for big minutes.
Right.
All right, man, we got to keep the truck moving here. Let's get on FanDuel. We promised a build here of our
do you want to
nice
you want to do
money
prize
in my
picks
FanDuel
first
account.
or
What's
second?
that?
You want to do prize picks first or
no? Let's save that for last.
Okay.
That's going to bring home all the money. Our two players going to win you 10 grand today. So you just got to bet heavy to win heavy,
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right. NBA, two brains are better than one. We're building this lineup. And before you can stump me, I'm taking Joel Embiid 11-3 at center.
Okay.
Because now that you can play Joker and Embiid, crafty little FanDuel. I like the way they made this happen. Let's see if
we can make this work.
It's cool.
Okay.
Oh, my Alexa has decided to talk here.
Uh-oh.
Sorry. Oh. Alexa wants me to unplug and replay my Embiid pick, I think.
I'm going to say
go ahead.
Monty Morris at 4,600.
Monte 4,600?
Yeah. Well, wait, hold on. I took the Joker, so.
Oh, you took the Joker?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
So I went ahead and took Morris too.
Damn, Alexa interrupting our deal here. Okay, so we got to go dirt cheap city the rest of the way with these two big fellas in there. I don't know what we can afford and what we can't now. How about a 5,900 Tyrese Maxey?
Okay. I think we can make this work. Well, if we can't, we can take the Joker out. But I think it's going to be kind of a nice lineup.
Yeah, I've got another pick. I'll make 2 in a row. Gary Trent's only 5,600.
Okay.
So that still keeps us over 5,000 a guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to get a little stingy here, but what else you got?
I'm going to take...
I got another one.
You may not like this, but he's going to start. So I'm going to take Matisse Thybulle at 4,000.
Oh, I hate that play, but that's okay. I'll take Dwight Powell 4,900.
Okay.
Matisse Thybulle is painful for me, but I accept your choice begrudgingly. So we have shooting guard, small forward, 58-50 apiece. That's not bad. How about Desmond Bane for 5,900?
I was actually thinking even cheaper than that was D'Anthony Melton, but do you think he'll get minutes?
I would feel more comfortable with Bane.
Well, yeah, for sure. I would too.
Because you still can go Andrew Wiggins or Bogdanovich at small forward. Or Barnes.
Yeah, Barnes is 55.
Huh?
Barnes is 55.
That's a misprice.
Yeah.
He's got to be 100% owned here at 55. It's ridiculous.
That's crazy. Yeah.
We have 300 to spare if you want to reconsider that error of judgment in the Matisse Thybulle choice. And I'm just kidding.
I mean,
he's going to have the game of his career.
Right. Sure. He's going to shut down Siakam.
If you want him, that's fine. You want to stick with this for now? We can always change it later.
Yeah, we've got 6,200 left. Did we pick somebody?
Yeah, I took. Here's what I have with $300 to spare. I have Morris, Maxey, Trent, and Bane, Thybulle and Barnes.
Okay, yeah.
The Joker and Powell and Embiid.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I think I'm gonna.
You're gonna make a switch?
Yeah, I think
you're giving away the optimal lineup here. Now you're gonna switch off of it. Who you benching?
Maybe not.
I think our team's good here.
Okay.
So we have 2 Denver guys. We have 3 Philly guys, which is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But we have let's see, 2 Toronto, 2 Denver.
So no Golden State. That's going to be contrarian right there.
Yeah, we shut out Golden State like they weren't even playing.
Yeah.
And that'll come back to haunt us.
No Utah and no
Utah.
No Minnesota.
Wow. Well, we're going to be Denver, Philly, and Toronto fans, it looks like.
Well, we're really going to be is Jokic and Embiid fans. So
I would say
they'll have to carry the load for sure.
How popular do you think putting both in there is going to be today? Is that going to be the thing now?
I don't know, because there's so many, popular players on this slate that I wouldn't think so. I mean, because you can't play Curry, you can't play Klay Thompson, you can't play Karl-Anthony Towns, you can't play Ja, you can't play Mitchell. There's quite a few guys that you can't. Harden, you can't play any of those guys if you do.
I'll tell you what, though, I have those 1-2 in raw points for this slate.
Jokic and Embiid. Yeah.
So the fact that you can actually play them both.
Yeah, I just think it's cool that we haven't been able to do that all year.
So. No, and I think a lot of people are going to do it. I'm probably going to do it because on FanDuel, you're not going to be able to do it on DraftKings, or else you're going to have to. You'll have to take like Bones, Bones being your 3rd best player, kind of thing. Yeah. So, all right, man, let's get this out there so the people can hear what's happening.
Okay.
Any final word? Oh, Prize Picks.
Yeah.
We almost forgot after all of those shenanigans.
Yeah.
What is your top Prize Picks play of the day, buddy?
My top prize picks play, and this was the play that I was trying to maneuver to maybe go to, was going to be D'Angelo Russell in our FanDuel lineup, but I like our lineup the way it is now. So D'Angelo Russell is at 18.5 real points, and he averaged 31 against Memphis this year. So,
Okay.
I mean, it's almost half of what he averaged. So, you know, if he was at 25, 26, I probably wouldn't take it. But at 18.5, I just feel like it's a no-brainer for me. He shot, like I said, 55% from the field and 46% from three. And I do expect regression. I don't think he's going to get 31, but if he gets us 20, we're good. So
I agree. I think that's a good play. For me, it's going to be Jalen Brunson, PRA 30.5. I mean, he's going to be the little engine that could here. I think he'll be the main guy. Dinwiddie, as his running mate, but the ball's going to be in Brunson's hands. He does volume shoot when Luka's out. He's a good assist man, and he grabs you a few rebounds and stuff too. So I think he gets to that 30.5 PRA over for Jalen Brunson.
All right. I like it. I do like it.
All right, my friend. Appreciate it. Good stuff. Hopefully we get this out there in time enough for everybody to take a good listen. And then check us out later today for some baseball podcasts as well. Again, thank you to our sponsor, Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com. Sign up with the promo code Coach Talk. They will match you dollar for dollar for the first 100. And if you want more of this, we're going to be in Discord all day. We're going to give you our lineups. We're going to give you some more Prize Picks plays. Just go to dfscoachtalk.com. You can try us out for as little as 3 days for $10. And you can sign up. We'll have you in Discord in a matter of a minute. So that is it. Enjoy this. I've been waiting for it for a long time. It's finally here. We have the NBA playoff series starting today.
Yes, sir.
All right. Have a great day, everyone. And certainly we'll be back again tomorrow. I'll be on here with Deb. She's back from vacation. She's rested up. She's got some good winners for you tomorrow. So we'll be back to do the same scenario tomorrow. So thanks for joining us. Have great luck today in all of the different DFS sports that you have going on this weekend. And we'll be back again tomorrow when we look to crush it in NBA DFS.